Hi, this is Chris Castaldo from Wall Street Buy, Sell, Hold. I'm here with Sam Greco, the president of Careview Communications at the Undiscovered Equity Conference. Welcome to Boca Raton.
Well, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Great to see you again. Well, as you know, you're one of my favorite companies. I really love what you do. You actually improve people's lives and help people make money. Well, that's my job. But tell us, the people who couldn't make it down here today, tell them what Careview Communications is all about.
You know, Careview Communications is a rather unique system for hospitals. You know, we place a camera, a very specialized computer, within the hospital, accessing their existing network. So we have to rewire nothing in the hospital. We have to interrupt no aspect of their infrastructure, and literally within a matter of days can provide them with tools that can improve the quality of care they render to patients, create a much safer environment, be an extra set of eyes for nursing, and clearly impact frivolous and lawsuits that never should happen in the hospital. We believe that the Careview difference in the hospital is the difference between patients being very well served, receiving the highest quality of care someone can provide, and probably the best hospital experience they could hope for.
Okay, well, people always do a better job when they know a third eye is watching them. So essentially you have a TV camera above the bed that can monitor everything that happens in that patient room. Mm-hmm. There's a monitor in the nursing station so the nurse can monitor the patients. And how does that improve the quality? Does it make the nurse's life easier?
You know, when a nurse has to be responsible for 6 patients, 8 patients, 10 patients, and simultaneously something goes wrong in a patient's room, or there's something as simple as 2 of these patients have an episode of any sort that they need attention to, who do you pick? How do you get there? How do you anticipate? How do you monitor a patient from afar? Unless you're literally in that room with the patient, you can't anticipate what's going on, even when they have medical monitors affixed to them. You know, all too often, a patient may have the pulse oximeter clip fall off their finger. Well, at the nursing station, they know, the patient may be dead.
Right.
When in fact, that would cause them to run down the hall, see what's going on, and find out they only had to put a clip back on a finger. With the Careview system, they merely tap a screen, see that the clip is off, and tell the patient, put that clip back on your finger.
So the vital stats are wired into the system so they could monitor them at the nurse's station.
They can be.
Well, this sounds something that every hospital should use, can use, and hopefully will use. What's the total size of your market? How many beds out there? How many hospitals? What do you?
You know, the healthcare market and the expanding healthcare market is approximately 1 million hospital beds. There's another 2 million skilled nursing beds and approximately 3 million adult living center beds. And each of those serve a different level of acuity for patients. We're applicable for all those. And specifically, our virtual bed rail product, our ulcer management product, probably address the 2 biggest issues that hospitals, nursing homes, and ALCs have in an elderly population.
Well, what is a virtual bed rail, and how does that work?
Well, a virtual bed rail is that extra assistance to help protect patients from falling out of bed. You know, interestingly enough, a patient falling out of bed is a bad enough event in the first place. If a 75-year-old falls out of bed, their life expectancy is only 6 months.
Really?
That in and of itself is reason enough to protect the patient.
Absolutely. They're going to the hospital to get better.
However, today, the federal government and most insurance companies have adopted the position that certain events should never happen. They're called never events.
Hence, never events.
And a fall is one of them. And it's one of the 2 leading never events. In fact, patient falls and bed sores comprise 70% of the never events in the country.
Wow.
The other 8 are only the balance.
All right, so how many bed falls happen per bed, per year, per hospital? Is there a statistic there?
You know, the average hospital has 5 falls per 1,000 patient days.
Okay.
You know, if you've got a 500-bed hospital, that's a lot of falls.
That's 5,000 falls.
You know, we've done studies now where, and we've been active enough in patient environments where we've seen falls reduced by 10%, then 20%, and as much as 50%.
Okay.
And we do 2 things. We provide an extra tool And that tool alerts the nurse that something bad may about to be happen.
So how exactly does
And they
this...
can avert the fall.
So how do they exactly work?
Are you a football fan?
Yes, I am.
All right. You ever watch John Madden draw all over the screen with his finger?
Yes, I have.
All right. Now, we had 2 requirements: easy, reliable.
Okay.
What could be easier than, like John Madden, drawing a line on each side of the bed?
I think everybody could do it.
Well, we're finding almost every nurse can do it.
Okay, good.
And
That's good.
that's how easy it is to implement virtual bed rails. You draw a line on each side of the bed, you arm that bed now. If a patient goes outside those lines you just drew, an alarm goes off. But it had to be reliable.
Right.
So,
Well, how do you prevent false alarms, like if I want to grab a magazine or a newspaper or a remote control? Because I would imagine this is a normal movement, going and grabbing something
Great
from the
question.
nightstand.
yeah, great question. You know, the top of a bed is different than the bottom of a bed.
Head, feet.
Yeah. And if you think about it, you usually don't throw your feet out to grab a magazine.
No.
Throw your arm out.
Right.
So you don't want false alarms when you're doing that. Our system detects motion coming in the bed and movement inside the bed and doesn't create that false alarm. You know, it measures the body mass to your total body. It measures the movement
So
coming out from in.
It's a smart
and in from
technology.
out.
It's not just
Yeah.
breaking a plane. It's an intelligent...
And the top of the bed is very different from the bottom. When a leg goes out
high probability fall.
and an alarm goes off.
Okay, and then by using your system, have you historically or statistically proven that you can prevent falls? Does this
Both.
actually work?
Both. Both. In some instances, we've taken it from 5 falls per 1,000 patients to under 3. That, I mean, if you do the math, that's just dramatic.
And obviously, people are getting older. Life expectancy is, people are living longer and longer. Eventually, everybody's going to wind up at a hospital in a bed at some point. And I would imagine with your surveillance, a happy nurse is probably giving better patient care. Happy nurse makes people healthy.
You know, even the best nurse,
Has a bad day.
and they're busy. And again, if you've ever had to take care of that many patients, and let's face it, in the second and third shift in every hospital, the staffing ratios are not as good as the first shift.
Okay.
Having that extra set of eyes, having that reminder, having that alarm is a great help to nursing. I don't believe there's a nurse in the country who wants to give bad care. But there's also not any practitioner who doesn't need the best tools. And we believe we're the best tool.
All right. Question. Bed falls is a big problem. How much is it costing the industry a year by having to nurse people back to wellness after a bed fall?
It's approximately $17 billion.
And if you can reduce bed falls by 50%, 60%,
You know, if you're a 200-bed hospital and you reduced falls by 50%, it's about a $2 million impact to you.
that's in one hospital. But
Single 200-bed hospital.
you can save the industry essentially billions.
Yes.
All right. And if bed falls are a problem, what exactly are pressure sores?
It's a bed sore. When you lie on a bed in the same spot for a long period of time, you know, especially in an elderly patient or an obese patient, you know, the skin is such that it is more susceptible to a wound.
Okay.
And if that patient isn't moved periodically, the probability of that wound is enhanced.
Okay. And how do you prevent?
You know, nurses are busy. And
They can't be all places at all times.
if you've got 8 of those patients and every one of them had to be moved every half hour, and you weren't sure if they were moved or not, and you forgot to do 2 of them,
I mean, wouldn't that create some type of negligence or lawsuit with the hospital?
a lot of lawsuits have resulted from it. Recently, in a case in Columbia, South Carolina, a patient that had a bed sore received a $12 million award. With our system,
So how do you prevent
we would
this?
have known that the patient either did or did not have enough movement to qualify as a patient roll. Did that patient roll from the position they were in to another position to prevent this from happening? And if it did, we would have alerted the nurse that this took place, you're fine. If you would like to review the video to determine that for yourself, you're able to. We would also tell them the opposite. It does not appear that this patient has rolled adequate. The probability of a bed sore has increased.
So what, does an alarm or a beep go off from room 101? Or
Whatever the hospital would like. A buzzer, a bell, a spoken word, a flashing screen. Whatever is most comfortable for the the hospital. That's the type of alarming system that we put in.
Okay, great product. Patents protection, do you need necessary?
We have granted patents for our technology that allows us to use the existing infrastructure in the hospital. We have patents that we have filed for virtual bed rails and our ulcer management bed sore product, as well as a product that will, I hope, lead us to more of a documentation system called Procedure View.
All right. Now, the reason why we're down here is to find undiscovered investments, up-and-coming stocks. How do you guys make money?
We make money by charging our hospital and nursing home and ALC customers a fee per month to have our camera in a room. And in fact, it's a little over $2 a day. We think it's a great bargain for the hospital.
Are there add-ons where you can make more than the hospital fee?
We have the ability to create revenue opportunities for the hospital where we share in certain services, more patient amenities than anything else.
Movies,
Internet.
internet.
Yeah, and have you ever seen a clip where a soldier serving our country in Iraq sees the birth of his child?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Uses our system to do it.
That's your system?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and there's other stuff that we've been asked to do that we're about to introduce. In Arkansas, one of our hospitals have asked us to kick off an RFID project. We'll be placing a chip on the nurse's badge. And what the hospital wants us to determine, because we have the capability within our existing computer to determine who was in the room and how much time did they spend servicing the patient. Hospitals provide nursing care, and nursing care is provided at the bedside. And it's important to this hospital to provide the nurse with as much time at the bedside
So they
as
can
possible.
document and monitor how
Exactly.
often, how long the nurse is at the bedside.
And the same thing with equipment. One of our hospitals has asked us now to create an equipment tracking service for them. If you ever tried to be discharged from a hospital and you can't leave because nobody can find the wheelchair, well, as crazy as that sounds, something that simple, can save tons of time and make a room available
For the next
for
available
the next patient, hours quicker.
Sam, we're at the Undiscovered Equities Conference, and we're looking for aggressive growth stocks. We all assume that now is the time to buy your stock. You have a tremendous backlog, I believe, of 100,000 beds. How soon will this backlog be worked off and actually equate to earnings and revenues?
Well, we believe we'll certainly be cash flow positive in 2011. We will have begun a fairly aggressive rollout process beginning in the fourth quarter of 2010 and certainly becoming more aggressive in 2011. Fortunately, hospitals have responded to us, and I don't see that slowing down for a while.
So signing up hospitals is easy. Getting the installs is taking a little bit of time. You should have how many beds by the end of the year installed approximately?
The end of 2010?
10, yeah.
Hopefully by the end of 2010 we're up to 3,000. And we could be a little higher than that. As you know, we just placed a large order with Greco, and depending on those delivery dates, we'll deploy as fast as we receive.
Mm-hmm.
So certainly in the 3 to 5 range, and then in 2010, as quickly as we receive, we will deploy.
And we've been hearing that you've got some big financing things happening. Any progress with that?
We believe we're closer. Well, we have some debt financing in place that will accommodate the rollout we just discussed, and we have several promising opportunities that we're currently evaluating, and we'll make decisions on in a very short period of time. Our goal is to be able to meet the demand and not have financing be an issue, and I think
You're pretty close.
We're getting there.
All right, big buzz around Careview has been China.
Yes.
Joint venture. Tell us about what's happening in China.
Care in China is a little different than it is in the United States.
Nurse to patient ratio is not the same.
Yeah, and it's unthinkable for us to chat about a patient ratio of 8 to 1 or 10 to 1.
In the United States.
In the United States. In China, 25 to 1 would be incredibly great. 50 to 1 is probably closer to the norm. However, they're committed to using technology to almost triage the patient, if you will.
Well,
And the technology that we're going to provide is an extension of our Equipment View product. By allowing the Careview system to be deployed and utilized in that ward atmosphere, we can effectively provide the nurse, whether they're looking at a monitor that has 25 or 40 patients on it, with a stream of information that allows them to focus on those that are sickest. And hopefully at some point we can introduce that here to help nurses in this country.
all right. Question, if the way the system is set up is one patient, one monitor, with vital stats, how do you view multiple patients, multiple vital stats at the same time? Is that an obstacle for China?
I don't believe it's an obstacle at all. You just tap the screen,
Okay.
see how we're doing.
Okay.
You know, if you think about how long it takes
But
to
can one
get through-
camera do vital stats with multiple people? No problem?
You probably, well, certainly there's ways to deploy multiple cameras per a single room control platform, or a single camera with a single room control platform. You know, there's those decisions you make as you get into the hospital and decide what best serves, that particular institution. If there's one thing we've learned in the installs that we've done in our 12 hospitals, if you've seen one physical plant,
Yes.
you've seen one physical plant.
Okay. I think that's a wrap. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I
We appreciate you.
Good luck with your rollout strategy. Sam Greco from Careview Communications, Chris Castaldo from Wall Street Buy, Sell, Hold.